So we're going to have to talk about our reviews this week.
We're going to have to,
That's why everyone's come here this week.
I know. Everyone's bundled in just for this. Well, you've seen Wonder Woman. I've not.
Yes. Can I review it, or are you going to shit on me?
No, you can review that. And then we've also got Alien. But you go ahead with good old Wonder Woman.
I do want to get into Alien.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
So
here's the thing about Wonder Woman. It's the best Marvel movie DC have ever made.
Nice.
That's the way I'll sum it up. Like, if you've watched Thor, if you've watched Captain America, the first Avenger, or Iron Man, that's what you're getting.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong with that. So, like, I'm not shitting on it. I'm perfectly happy with it. There's a couple of things with the Wonder Woman movie that has to be, I think, unpacked a bit.
Yeah.
The first thing is, it's a lead woman, or a woman in the lead for a superhero movie, directed by a woman.
Okay.
A lot of people kind of overlooking the fact that it's written by a man.
Right.
But, you know, he wrote, I think, the OC and Grey's Anatomy. So maybe he's a girly kind of right. But no, in all seriousness, that's a big factor of, like, everyone's giving it a lot of praise of it's a woman lead. It's a big deal. And I get that. And I'm all in support of it because it's like Get Out.
Of course.
It's like Get Out's a good movie.
Yep.
And, you know, the fact that he's a black director doesn't really matter, but it matters for that kind of thing. Okay. It matters that he's out there.
Right.
You know, when Catherine Bigelow got nominated for the Oscar for The Hurt Locker, it's a big deal because it means you're going to have more people in the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like we talk about with Apple. It's competition.
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins is a female director who just directed a woman in a movie that made $100 million in the weekend and is as good as most Marvel movies out there. So that makes competition for all the Marvel movies, and it makes competition for all the directors who are trying to be like, well, I can make whatever shit I want. It's like, oh no, you can't. Because now not only can I go to a different man, I've got this woman I can go to.
Yeah.
And just like the horror directors are like, well, we'll just have to get like X, Y, and Z. It's like, oh no, now we have Jordan Peele over here.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even care if he makes, you know, a movie about a black guy. I know that his movie makes $100 million.
Sure. Yeah.
So whatever the product is, the behind the scenes of it is like women, men, black, white, Asian, Hispanic.
Yeah.
The more people that are making movies, the better the movies we're going to get. That's just a fact.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's somebody out there who is the next Ridley Scott, but he was born in Nigeria. You know, the next Steven Spielberg was born in Taiwan.
Of course, yeah.
So that's amazing to get that out there.
Yeah.
But for me, as much as I praise that fact of it, I also like to separate the fact of that's not the movie.
Right.
Like Jordan Peele's Get Out is a good movie. I'm not going to say it's a good movie because I want more black directors.
Right.
Just like I'm not going to say...
Well, yeah.
But that's the point. Like, I think a lot of this attention on Wonder Woman is because people are like, we want more women directors.
Yeah, that's
which I get.
It shouldn't be about that.
It shouldn't be about that, but at the same time, we're in a situation where they're not treated fairly.
I know where you're coming from.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So as a movie, though, I'm watching, I'm like, it's good.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Sure.
It's not amazing. And there's a lot of little issues I have with it, but I'm perfectly happy with it.
Okay.
And the final thing I guess you have to unpack is like, a lot of people probably went into this thinking DC can't fuck up again.
Yeah.
So the fact that they walked out and it was a good movie, they kind of like jumps up another level.
Yeah. A lot better than Suicide Squad and Batman vs Superman. Like a lot better.
A lot better in that you're just going to watch it and enjoy it. This, like, I keep going back to the Marvel movie. It's Captain America, the first Avenger.
Yeah.
It's set in the past. It's set during a war.
Right.
There's an origin story. The first Superman movie, there's a lot of that in there. But the things that make me really like the movie are there's small touches that show that you can make a movie like Zack Snyder tried to make, which is dark and gritty. Because this deals with World War I. It has like guys who's suffering PTSD. It's got like kids in trouble. It's got injury. Like there's a lot of the horrors of war.
Sure.
But Wonder Woman comes out of it looking like a hero because they just do these little things of showing her caring. And like when she sees someone suffering, they just have her like being upset.
Sure.
And when she sees someone in trouble, she says we should help them. And then everyone's like, we don't have time, move along. And I'm like, that's how you make a hero.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to make the world shitty and make the hero shitty.
Yeah.
You can make the world shitty and then this is the person who's just like
slowly.
It should be better than this.
Yeah.
And like there was never a moment where Superman did that or Batman did that, where they're like, I know it's shitty. I know I have to do all this shitty fucking stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe it could be a little bit better.
Yeah.
Maybe it's okay to care about things.
Yeah.
So I think Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Do you reckon that's them learning from their mistakes, or that's just?
I hope so. Yeah. There's also like in terms of Wonder Woman as a character, it's a good example of who she is. Like she comes from this very naive place.
Yeah.
And she goes into the real world and she's like, oh fuck, this is crazy.
I'm curious, how big a part does Chris Pine have?
Big part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would say, again, to go back to the example of Superman the movie, the original one with Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
Like people are referencing how like she looks like Christopher Reeve and they have this scene in the alleyway. He's a lot like Lois Lane in that movie. It's like the two of them back and forth.
Interesting.
I also liked how they didn't make him the girl.
Right.
So it's not like he's in danger and Wonder Woman saves him every time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, they both go back and forth.
Nice.
So as much as the film is good, like it opens, it's very slowly paced at the beginning.
Okay.
The middle of it's good when she gets to London. There's the comedy bits.
She talked, yeah. She's not amazing. Yeah.
And that's one of the things I was going to say like a little bit later about the problems with it. But just to go into it is like, I don't know how she's going to do without Chris Pine.
Right.
Because spoiler alert, he's dead. It's World War I. He's gone.
Yeah.
He made a lot of it work.
Right.
He carried a lot of the weight of like...
Now she's relying on her...
Now it's her...
Justice League partners.
Yeah, and I'm like, on her own, I don't know what Gal Gadot can do.
Right.
She was good with what she had to do, but if Chris Pine wasn't there, that could be a very different film. They had good chemistry.
Sure.
He got a lot of good comedy moments.
Yeah.
He played up being a bit of a douchebag now and again.
Okay.
He's also like, sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong.
Yeah.
And they have that back and forth.
Nice.
But he's Chris Pine. He's a movie star.
Yeah. And he's gone now.
So. And he's gone now. And I'm like, what can she do when she's not relying on...
Interesting.
And it's also the characters, like the character we're introduced to. I feel like I'm shitting on the movie already. But the character we're introduced to is a very young Diana.
Okay.
So she gets to play naive.
Yeah.
She gets to play...
She's growing up.
Yeah, she's like, I don't understand... Like, the comedy's like, I don't understand clothes.
She becomes Wonder Woman by the end of it. Like,
exactly,
she learns her lessons and stuff.
So a lot of the character moments and the things that work with her, she can't do that anymore. She can't play naive. She can't play stupid. She can't play innocent.
Yeah.
She has to be a little tougher.
Right.
But in terms of like the action scenes are pretty decent. A couple of the special effects are going to be a bit wonky. I know you're going to spot them and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the story, it doesn't mess around. This is the start of it.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it.
Nice.
And that's it.
Okay.
There are problems with it.
Okay.
The final act is just every other movie you've ever seen.
Right.
It's Doomsday all over again. It's just fire and a big guy punching. It looks good in terms of like...
We're doing spoilers here and stuff, yeah?
No, I'm not going to give too many spoilers away, but like she fights a big guy at the end.
Yeah, okay.
And it's just fire. And
is he a comic book guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that got me was like, I didn't understand... it's a problem with Marvel movies too, so I'm not going to say it's just DC. It's just, there's no message.
Right.
Like I was watching Get Out, there's a message in that. Just watch Guardians 2. There's a message. Like there's a reason you get to the end of the movie and you're like, I understand kind of what he was trying to say here.
Sure.
I know comic book movies aren't usually held to that standard, but we're living in a post-Logan world.
Yeah.
You know, your quality's going up. The kind of emotions you're expecting. So like the end of the third act, it's over and I'm like, it's forgettable. That's the thing about the movie.
Right.
Good but forgettable.
Interesting. Yeah.
So there's also the part of me, because we've watched so many of these, that it's like, this is a good movie 10 years ago.
Okay.
Which is when
10 years.
Like, not that it's a bad movie now, but I mean, if it had to come out around Iron Man, Captain America, you're like, this is as good as them. This is great.
Before you went in, you kept saying it was similar to Captain America's.
It is, yeah.
Is it basically like that?
Yeah, like, I'm not giving anything away. The start of it, she's in modern times.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like she's in we've seen her in Batman, Superman.
Oh, it starts there. I thought it just started way back. So.
It starts here, and then she remembers the story, and then it finishes back in our time.
Right.
Which leads to one of the problems I have with it in like a universe kind of way of like,
yeah,
what the fuck she been doing? Because it ends at the end of World War II, which is 1918.
Right.
She, mild spoiler here, she doesn't go back to the island.
Yeah.
At least, she doesn't, I don't even know it's a spoiler, but she says she doesn't. Looks like she has a job.
Yeah. So since World War II up until...
That's 100 years.
Yeah.
Like, maybe there's a bunch of stories in there.
Right, right.
But it's DC's universe getting messed up again.
Complicated, yeah.
Captain America, frozen.
Well, we know.
Unfrozen.
World Cup, he's in New York City.
But that's why there's no Captain America, thing. It's just like, that's how they solve that problem. Whereas with this one, there's this giant 100-year problem of...
Sure.
If by the end of the movie, she's like a hero, or at the end of the war, she's a hero, and she knows she has to do the good thing, which is part of her speech.
Yeah.
The fuck she been doing? What the fuck has she been doing?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the major problems I have with it, like, in terms of like storytelling in the general universe. I'm like, how is it that she's not done anything in 100 years that would, become a red flag to Batman or be mentioned by Superman?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Lex has done a logo for her.
Yeah, Lex is kind of like, oh yeah, fuck, you ain't that makes no sense now because she already has the bloody logo on her thing.
Oh,
whatever.
I was going to mention something else. Keep going, and
I'd say
I'll
overall,
remember.
like 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's, which
like, is what everyone's saying.
You're a critical.
Yeah, I'm critical
reviewer.
I think that's the point of like being critical about it. Is like I said, 10 years ago,
sure,
I wouldn't have been as critical.
Yeah.
But now I expect more from a movie.
I actually want to go.
The last 20 minutes when it's just fighting a fucking guy and it's all CG on a green screen, I'm like, balls.
I want to see it more than I did just from your little impression there. I think that will be pretty sweet. There's
a lot of things that make, like I said, I like how she reacts. I like those little moments of her caring. And then there's a couple of little, like, not laugh out loud jokes, but the kind of jokes they make are just the kind of jokes never got made in a Batman movie.
Okay.
They're just like, oh, we can take the fun, we can take the piss.
Yeah.
It's not like winking at the audience that far.
Okay.
But it's definitely like, this is silly. Or I'm silly. Or this. I think what gets her across is there's really nice, quaint jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's just nice, like perfect little things of just like, she's silly and it's like, oh, we can laugh at her. She's that kind of thing of like, oh, you guys know how to make a character likable. I know it's cheap. I know Marvel do it every day of the week, but this is the movie everyone expected DC to make.
Yeah.
But they took them 4 movies to get there.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you trip and you fall and you need to learn from mistakes.
Yeah. And then you fall down a hole and drag people with you.
And don't go in. Don't go into it. But was there like a Justice League thing at the end?
There's a Justice League thing at the start, which isn't giving anything away. You know the Marvel Studios have their DC have done one of them.
Is it just them walking or something?
It's not them walking. That's a cartoon, walking over the hill.
Okay.
They're showing each of the characters. Now, I don't know if people can read into this too much because the characters aren't the movie characters. They're not the actors.
Okay.
They're cartoony guys.
Okay.
So you get a Batman, you get a Superman, you get a Flash, you get a Cyborg, and a Wonder Woman.
They've introduced a new intro.
And there's one other character.
Ah.
So in the sequence of Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Flash, then there's one more person, and Aquaman.
Sorry, yeah.
Then there's the 7th.
Ah, so is that them?
So now everyone's like, is that
them doing their thing?
Is that going to be the guy who's in the movie? Do you want to know who it is? You don't want to know who it is?
Superman.
No. That's what I'm saying. This is the sequence.
Oh, you already mentioned
Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, Flash.
Yeah. I'm not.
And then there's one more.
So how? Do you know? Did you have to look this up?
No, I know who he is. Everyone who knows who he is.
Who is it?
It's Green Lantern.
Oh, yeah?
Our old friend who we did the commentary on because he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. But who's going to play him?
That's the thing. It's only a cartoon animation. And then what happens is the animation goes back and you see like 100 characters.
Oh, okay.
But it's very particular in that
he's there.
You see
with
the 6 Justice Leaguers that are in the movie.
Yeah.
And then him.
Well, he could be at the end of that film or something. So interesting.
He just pops in. He's like, what the fuck?
I could have fucking done this all with my hammer. Or whatever I want.
I could have made a hammer. Could have made anything. Yeah. So my Wonder Woman non-spoilery review is It's fine.
We'll just call it
perfectly fine.
We'll call it your impressions.
Yeah.
And then I'll when I see it, we'll do like a full
spoiler review. Yeah.
Yeah. But
so yeah, my impression is the 3 different stages of it's the best DC movie they've made.
Okay, that's great.
But it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So this idea of DC going their own path might be thrown out by this.
Okay.
The other problem is, and this is something to do with DC, this movie was sort of made on its own.
Sure.
Off in the corner like a forgotten child.
Right.
The next movie we're getting after this is Justice League.
It's not being treated. It's in the light. Everyone's looking at it.
Yeah, so
it might not go down the same direction.
I don't know if
it might go cheese balls.
Yeah, I don't know if Justice League has corrected itself to get in line, and I don't necessarily want it to get in line because on its own as a movie, this is fine.
Yeah,
has problems.
Yeah,
it is a Marvel movie. It's as good as any good Marvel movie, but it has all the flaws that everyone always throws at Marvel movies of like nothing really matters. There's no tension.
Yeah,
there's just a big fight at the end. So it's got that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if Justice League is... I don't want Justice League to go down that route necessarily. It would be nice if it was entertaining.
Yeah.
Like this one was. But it's the competition thing. I don't want Marvel and DC movies to be exactly the same.
Justice League can't afford to go down just the normal route either.
It can't.
They can't afford to go down the... shite route of Suicide Squad and stuff like that as well. So
and it also can't just be an Avengers.
No, yeah, it needs to be
what
something special.
Yeah.
So yeah, especially with like even though it's a year apart
with
Infinity War, knowing that we know like that's just going to be incredible, but it needs to have some special sauce.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like looking at the ratings, Guardians 2 is much lower rated on Rotten Tomatoes than Wonder Woman.
Right.
But Guardians is far better movie.
But you just went to see it again before.
I went to see it again, yeah. And it's emotional at the end when, like, you know, everything happens at the end, and you've got this big through line, and it has problems, but in terms of out and out enjoyment, I enjoyed it more than Wonder Woman, and it had more emotional effect on me than Wonder Woman did.
Yeah.
So, like, ratings wise, don't really pay attention to it.
Sure.
I would say that you should flip those numbers, and she should be about 80%.
The more, the funny thing, the more and more we do these podcasts and like we're reviewing things, the less I pay attention to that.
Yeah,
stuff.
Exactly.
The other day, when we get into gaming, Tekken, like I love Tekken, still need to buy it. But I said to a friend, I was like, "Are you gonna get Tekken?" And he's like, he's a fighting fan or whatever. And he's like, "Nah, reviews weren't that great." Yeah. I'm like, well, actually, the reviews were decent. They weren't like amazing. They were like 75, 80s.
Yeah, they're not like 10
I was like,
10.
you're not going to buy it because it got 75, 80.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't you make your own mind up? Obviously, listen to, you want to get people's opinions.
Find someone that you trust or someone who's like has the same opinion.
Because you have
like if someone likes the movies I like,
yeah, exactly,
and I say I like this movie, then they're probably going to like
you.
it.
Actually, from what you've just said there, I want to see Wonder Woman more than I did when we started the podcast. I actually kind of want to go see it tomorrow.
Right.
So it's like, whereas I was kind of half expecting you to shit on it a bit more and me to be like, maybe I just won't see it.
I think that's the thing. Like in terms of calling it a Marvel movie, it's safe.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot to hate.
But safe in DC world is good.
Say that's
right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the three packages of
course,
as a movie, it's a Marvel movie. It's safe.
Yeah.
In DC world, it's exactly what they needed. They needed $100 million opening weekend with this big woman character that they can now stick on the front of the Justice League movie.
Sure.
So you don't have to look at bloody fucking Batman and be like, remember when he killed that guy? You know. So in November, that's going to look great.
Is his parents dead?
I don't know. We'll have to watch it again.
Well, we'll
do another commentary. Our annual commentary on Batman Superman. Then there's the other aspect of it, which is it is a woman director doing a superhero movie with a woman lead, which is great. And it's made a bunch of money, and there's nothing terrible about it. So for Marvel next year, when they're doing Captain Marvel with Brie Larson, they have to step up their game. Mm-hmm. And I think it might not be as big a deal, but I know next March there's the Black Panther movie, which is being directed by Ryan Coogler from Creed, and it's starring.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, I think Michael B. Jordan's joined the cast, and most of the cast is African American or black or whatever the correct term is they want to be called. So I think that movie will have the same issues of like, oh, we have a black director directing a black actor in the first big superhero movie and I get that. So for Wonder Woman, that's a win.
Yeah.
And I hope it's a win for Black Panther, and I hope you get more directors doing better movies. This one, it's definitely going to put a lot of pressure on, like, you know, Zack Snyder got Man of Steel, and he screwed that up, and then he screwed up Batman, Superman. Critically, you know, I'm just saying, people like those movies, whatever.
Of course.
People can be wrong. It's fine. And he's going to do Justice League. Like, he's had 3 movies where he's not had to answer the questions. So at the same time now, I want it to be a case of like, well, this woman made $100 million movie. Why should she have to bloody answer the questions? Just give her the goddamn next movie.
Of course, yeah.
Like, on pure merit, you can't just say women can't direct.
Yeah.
And on pure merit, you can't say Wonder Woman can't make money. She just made more money than Baywatch and Pirates of the Caribbean combined.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the best thing. It just means that everyone has to be better.
Sure. Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it. But it doesn't make me turn around and say Wonder Woman is the greatest movie of all time.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
I think a lot of people are trying to put too much pressure on it.
I think
like,
so
if
as
this
well.
movie failed, no woman can ever make a movie again. I'm like,
yeah.
No.
I was getting that impression as well that everyone was putting all their hopes on it, hopes and dreams. And I think you and I both knew it was going to be decent.
Yeah.
I think from your impression, it sounds like it was a bit better than what we thought it was going to be.
It's better than what I thought.
Yeah, it's the whole thing that...
I think my prediction last week was like, it's going to be like Ant-Man.
Right.
Which I'd pretty much stick to.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you walked out of Ant-Man, you're like, that didn't change my life.
Yeah.
But I will watch it again.
Okay, yeah.
My other way of judging things is usually, would I take anything out of the movie? Like Logan, wouldn't take anything out, probably add 15 minutes.
Sure.
In this one, there's things I would take out.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying it's not a perfect movie.
Right.
There's stuff like, it didn't need that. That was too long.
Right. How long was the film?
Not that long, actually, but it was...
A 2 hour?
2 hours, yeah. 2 hours, yeah.
2 hours for...
His pacing was a bit weird at the start.
Right.
Not that it was bad. I was just like, this does not feel like... It feels like a Marvel movie. It doesn't feel like a DC movie.
Nice, okay.
So,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, once you get to see it, we can spoil it and we can really get into it.
We'll
Because there are some things that you need to see, and then we can really talk about it and break it down.
Get into a conversation about it.
Yep.
Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, click the subscribe button.
Yeah, and as always, you can check out the full episode on iTunes, or here it's going to be posted usually every weekend. Thanks for listening.
Oh yeah.